Welcome back to another edition of Danger and Danielle's Tactical Breakdown. And we're going to look back to the 2-2 result the Quakes had this past Saturday with the Houston Dynamo. We're going to start with talking about the formation because, Danger, I don't recall the last time we've seen a 4-3-3 formation from the Earthquakes.
Yeah, I go back in the MLS days, certainly since the team became the Earthquakes again. 2000 maybe was when Frank Gallup took over the team and built a fabulous team. Won the championship in 2001, 2003. I've never seen anything but a 4-4-2 ever since then. Yeah. So for Michael Starry to go with a 4-3-3 was a bold move. I think it shows that he's got some flexibility. He's taken the time to break things down and see how can we play against this particular opposition and do well. The last 3 games, I thought that the Quakes were outmanned in the midfield, at home against New York City FC, on the road in Philadelphia, and also on the road in Sporting Kansas City. They were dominated early in the game, and I think that's why he changed things up. And I don't think that was the problem. No,
so it wasn't the 4-3-3. I mean, you and I were talking about this earlier. It was more the lack of energy, the giveaways, some of the simple basic soccer stuff that really seemed to let the Earthquake down in moments.
Yeah, without being too critical, the coach can do whatever formation he wants, but the players don't show up on the night in some cases. If the energy isn't there, I thought it was a very flat performance. Yeah. And if they're giving the ball away in key situations, simple passes and not connecting passes, the formation is never going to get going. And although they took the lead, I really didn't feel the team ever got going on the evening.
So let's take a second to break down both of the goals against the ones that the Dynamo scored. For me, the first goal was really about a giveaway in the back, a soft goal by the Earthquakes there.
Yeah, and it's a bad decision by Jefferson Quintana, more so than the giveaway. Players are going to make mistakes, and it was a bad pass, right? But you have to look at that as a player, whether it's he or whether it's Magnus Eriksson at the time, got to recognize the fact that the Houston Dynamo were throwing 4 people forward to press on the Quakes, trying to play out of the back. At that point, as a professional player, you've got to look at that and say, we've got to go long, away from the pressure, bypass that pressure to where you have numbers. Or it goes back to Tarbell to do the same thing. You can't play the square pass. Yes, it was a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. I'm more concerned about the decision of not recognizing the pressure that came from the Houston Dynamo at that time.
Yeah, and the second goal, to me, wasn't a giveaway, but it was a lack of energy, a lack of commitment to get pressure on the ball that led to that goal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of people were talking on Twitter and everything about the spacing in the midfield and the pressure on the midfield areas, and I think that was an example late in the day in the game where certainly there wasn't any pressure on the midfield of the Houston Dynamo. There's no pressure on Alexander. There's no pressure wide on Machado. He finds Martinez, who has the time to turn. I can't blame Nick Lima at all on that goal. And I'll tell you why, is because there's no pressure there and Martinez is allowed to turn and then thread a ball to a sprinting Alice who gets his arm across Nick Lima. That's difficult to defend as any kind of fullback against a good player. Yes, maybe there was a little bit of could have been better marking or a little bit more recognition of the ball coming in from Jefferson again. But for me, that goal was created by the lack of energy, the lack of pressure on the midfield players and the wide player of the Houston Dynamo.
So in looking at the midfield shape of Godoy, Jackson-Yueill, and Fatai Alashe, Fatai certainly seemed to be the guy who was holding, but on the night we both agreed that Jackson-Yueill was really that impact player. For me, it was his ability to get his head up and change the point of attack for the Earthquakes that was really the game changer, and he also had a big impact on both of the goals.
Yeah, I thought he brought good energy. It looked like Fatai was holding, as you say. It seemed like Godoy and Jackson had the ability or the free rein to get forward. A lot of times they seemed to get past the front 3, which was interesting. But I thought that Jackson's performance was good. He got, as you say, he was involved in both of the goals. As a group in the midfield, I thought at times Fatai gave the ball away a few times and Anibal was overpassing a lot. We also talked about those spaces in the 4-3-3 formation are out wide. I also thought there was times when Nick Lima was trying to get forward and the guys in the middle of the park either didn't recognize and get that quick enough and get the ball out to him, or they just basically hit a bad pass out of bounds. And that happened too many times for the Quakes to get anything going in the midfield. But on the night, Jackson Ewell, I thought, was the best of the three.
So on the first goal, what I love about Jackson Ewell is he basically makes the most of a broken play, a set piece opportunity. But I don't know that people understand how critical that ball he laid back to Magnus Eriksson was. You spend hours working on those balls in training, and to me, he set his teammate up perfectly there.
Yeah, great feet, great awareness. He has a little touch with his left foot that gives him a little bit of space to be able to roll it back. And it's the pace of the pass that you're talking about.
Perfect.
It allows Magnus Eriksson to strike it first time with his left foot. And that's the quality Jackson has. It's his range of passing, but also for a younger player, he has a lot of composure in tight areas, and he was able to roll a ball that Magnus, with his sweet left foot, was able to put it in the bottom corner.
Yeah, and you talked about his range of passing. So the second goal, it's his ball that changes the point out to Flo Youngworth that really makes the difference, right?
Yeah, a lot of decent play in this goal, but I thought the fact that Jackson Ewell was able to hit a quality ball with pace out to Flo Youngworth allows Flo to get the ball under control with no pressure, look up and see what his options are. He hits a good ball in, it goes over Wondolowski, but then Quincy has so much to do. You've got to recognize that Quincy's just came on the game and maybe 2 or 3 minutes before. And so his heart's running and he's thinking, how can I get involved in this game? He slows things down, he has a good touch, he rolls the ball once again with the right pass for SJvHOU to strike. So a lot of good play there by the Quakes, mostly by Quincy to roll it and then the strike. But you got to recognize that ball by Jackson Ewell as well.
So another key moment in this game was in the second half and a huge save when the scoreline is 2-1 by Andrew Tarbell.
Yeah, breakaway for Houston Dynamo. You know, you got the guy on the ball that you want on the ball in Albert Ellis. One-on-one situation with Andrew Tarbell. And it's a good save by Tarbell because he stood his ground and he's big, and it's actually a save that at the end of the day got a point. That save is just as important as SJvHOU's goal to get that point at home.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the impact that the subs made, because I thought that Wando and Hika and Quincy Amarikwa brought a lot of energy and were really responsible for earning that 2-2 draw.
Yeah, they all got involved in the game quickly. They all brought energy. Wando was obviously a little bit fired up because he knows that there was a game to be won at home more than anything else. I know the way his brain works, and all he wants to do is try and get points for the club at that point. So he's out there doing that. And I thought that both Quincy, with his composure on the goal, the strife in Jamia, you really couldn't ask for anything more from the three subs than they gave. And I'm sure that Michael Starr is going to be looking at that impact those players had when he picks his team on Saturday.
Yeah, so a little bit of a mixed result, 2-2 result line for the Earthquakes against the Houston Dynamo. I'm sure they'll be looking to respond as they head out on the road to Orlando and to Columbus. Remember, we'll be back here on May 5th, so don't miss the Quakes taking on the Portland Timbers then.